The fourth chapter of the shortness of this work, and how it may not be come into by the curiosity of wit, nay by imagination. Here beginneth the fourth chapter. But for that thou shalt not err in this working, and ween that it be otherwise than it is, I shall tell thee a little more thereof, as me thinketh. This work asketh no long time, ere it be once truly done, as some men weenen. For it is the shortest work of all that man may imagine. It is neither longer nor shorter than is anathemus, the which athemus, by the definition of true philosophers in the science of astronomy, is the least part of time. And it is so little that, for the littleness of it, it is undepartable and nigh unto incomprehensible. This is that time of the which it is written, all time that is given to thee, it shall be asked of thee how thou hast dispended it. And skilful thing it is that thou give account of it, for it is neither longer nor shorter, but even according to one only stirring that is within the principal working might of thy soul, the which is thy will. For even so many willings or desirings, and no more and no fewer, may be and are in 1 hour in thy will, as are anathemas in 1 hour. And if thou were reformed by grace to the first state of man's soul, as it was before sin, then thou shouldest evermore, by help of that grace, be lord of that stirring, or of those stirrings, so that none yede forby, but all they should stretch into the sovereign desirable, and into the highest willnable thing, the which is God. For he is even meat to our soul by the measuring of his Godhead, and our soul even meet unto him by worthiness of our creation to his image and to his likeness. And he by himself withouten more, and none but he, is sufficient at the fall, and much more, to fulfill the will and the desire of our soul. And our soul, by virtue of this reforming grace, is made sufficient at the full to comprehend all him by love, the which is incomprehensible to all create knowledgeable might, as is angels and man's soul. I mean by their knowing, and not by their loving, and therefore I clap them in this case knowable mights. But sith, all reasonable creatures, angel and man, hath in them, each one by himself, a principal working might, the which is cleped a knowable might, and another principal working might, the which is cleped a loving might, of the which two mights, to the first, the which is a knowing might, God, that is the maker of them, is evermore incomprehensible, and to the second, the which is the loving might, in each one diversely, he is all comprehensible at the full, insomuch that a loving soul only in itself, by virtue of love, should comprehend in it him that is sufficient at the full, and much more, without comparison, to fill all the souls and angels that ever may be. And this is the endless marvellous miracle of love, the which shall never take end, for ever shall he do it, and never shall he cease for to do it. See who by grace see may, for the feeling of this is endless bliss, and the contrary is endless pain. And therefore, whoso were reformed by grace thus to continue in keeping of the stirrings of the will, should never be in this life, as he may not be withouten these stirrings in kind, withouten some taste of the endless sweetness, and in the bliss of heaven without the full food. And therefore have no wonder though I steer thee to this work. For this is the work, as thou shalt hear after, in the which man should have continued if he had never sinned, and to the which working man was made, and all things for man, to help him and further him thereto, and by the which a man shall be repairled again. And for the defailing in this working, a man falleth deeper and deeper in sin, and farther from God. And by keeping and continual working in this work only, withouten more, a man evermore riseth higher and higher from sin, and nearer to God. And therefore take good keep into time, how that thou dispendest it. For nothing is more precious than time. In a little time, as little as it is, may heaven be won and lost. A token is it that time is precious. For God, that is giver of time, giveth neither 2 times together, but each one after other. And this he doth, for he will not reverse the order, or the ordinal course in the cause of his creation. For time is made for man, and not man for time. And therefore God, that is the ruler of thy kind, will not in the giving of time go before the stirring of kind in a man's soul, the which is even according to one time only. So that man shall have none excusation against God in the doom, and at the giving of account of the dispending of time, saying, Thou givest 2 times at once, and I have but one stirring at once. But sorrowfully thou sayest now, How shall I do? And sith this is so that thou sayest, how shall I give account of each thing surely? I, that into this day, now of 24 years of age, never took heed of time. Yet I would now amend it, thou wast well, by very reason of thy words written before, it may not be after the course of kind ne of common grace, that I should more keep, or else make a sith to any more times, than to those that been for to come. Yea, and moreover well I wot, by very proof, that of those that been to come I shall on no wise, for abundance of frailty and slowness of spirit, may keep 1 of 100, so that I am verily concluded in these reasons. Help me now, for the love of Jesu. Right well hast thou said, for the love of Jesu. For in the love of Jesu there shall be thine help. Love is such a might that it maketh all thing common. Love therefore Jesu. In all things that he hath it is thine. He by his Godhead is maker and giver of time. He by his manhood is the very keeper of time. And he, by his Godhead and his manhead together, is the truest doomsman and the asker of account in the spending of time. Knit thee, therefore, to him by love and by belief. And then, by virtue of that knot, thou shalt be common parsoner with him, and with all that by love so be knitted unto him. That is to say, with our Lady Saint Mary, that full was of all grace and keeping of time, with all the angels of heaven that may never lose time, and with all the saints in heaven and in earth that by the grace of Jesu keep in time full justly, virtue of love. Lo, here lieth comfort. Construe thou clearly, and pick thee some profit. But of one thing I warn thee, amongst all other, I cannot see who may truly challenge community thus with Jesu and his just mother, his high angels, and also with his saints, but if it be such that one doth that in him is, with helping of grace, in keeping of time, so that he be seen to be a profiter on his part, so little as is, unto the community, as each one of him doth on his. And therefore take keep to this work, and to the marvellous manner of it within thy soul. For if it be truly conceived, it is but a sudden stirring, as it were unavised, speedily springing unto God, as sparkle from the coal. And it is marvellous to number the stirrings that may be in 1 hour wrought in a soul that is disposed to this work. Yet, in one stirring of all these, he may have suddenly and perfectly forgotten all created thing. But fast after each stirring, for corruption of the flesh, it falleth down again to some thought, or to some done or undone deed. But what thereof? But fast after it riseth again as suddenly as it did before. And here may men shortly conceive the manner of this working, and clearly know that it is far from any fantasy, or any false imagination, or quaint opinion, the which being brought in, not by such a devout and a meek blind stirring of love, but by a proud, curious, and an imaginative wit. Such a proud, curious wit behoveth algates to be borne down, and stiffly trodden down under foot, if this work shall truly be conceived in purity of spirit. For whoso heareth this work, either be read or spoken, and weeneth that it may or should be comen to by travail in their wits, and therefore they sit in their wits, how that it may be, and in this curiosity they travail their imagination peradventure against course of kind, and they feign a manner of working, the which is neither bodily ne ghostly. Truly this man, whosoever he be, is perilously deceived, and so much will that, but if God of his great goodness show his merciful miracle, and make him soon to leave work, and meek him to counsel of proved workers, he shall fall either into frenzies, or else into other great mischiefs of ghostly sins and devil's deceits, through the which he may lightly be lorn through life and soul without any end. Therefore, for God's love, beware in this work, and travail not in thy wits, nay in thy imagination, on no wise. For I tell thee truly, it may not be come into by travail in them, and therefore leave them, and work not with them. And weed not, for I cleped a darkness or a cloud, that it be any cloud congealed of the humours that flown in the air. Nay, yet any darkness such as in thine house or nights, when thy candle is out. For such a darkness and such a cloud mayest thou imagine with curiosity of wit, for to bear before thine eyne, in the lightest day of summer, and also againstward, in the darkness night of winter, thou mayst imagine a clear shining light. Let be such falsehood, I mean not thus. For when I say darkness, I mean a lacking of knowing, as all that thing that thou knowest not, or else that thou hast forgotten, it is dark to thee, for thou seest it not with thy ghostly eye. And for this skill it is not cleped a cloud of the air, but a cloud of unknowing, that is betwixt thee and thy God.